Alright guys, so less than 2 days until Diablo 4's open beta drops, we've got some great fixes coming up, a warning to new players, and lots more to discuss in this video. Let me know down below if you're as excited as I am to play the game this weekend, and let's dive right in. Now, if you haven't checked the news yet, you can already download the open beta client by heading over to the diablo.com/beta website, and you're going to find the link to download as well as the platform of choice right here. By the way, if you don't want a big download size, you can turn off downloading the high quality texture pack, which basically adds another 40 gigs on top, almost doubling the size. Also, quick reminder that the beta starts at 9 AM PDT, Friday, March 24th, and ends on Monday 27th at 12 PM PDT. But with that out of the way, Blizzard also released a bunch of new fixes for the open beta to address some of the issues found in the previous weekend. One of the biggest, of course, is the fix to Ashava's spawn timer, and according to the patch notes, the world boss now spawns starting Saturday, March 25th at 10 AM, 12 PM, and 10 PM PDT respectively, with a final one on Sunday, March 26th at 12 AM PDT. For all newcomers, Ashava will spawn in the Crucible region right here in the Fractured Peaks, which is located right on the far east side of the map. There's even going to be a countdown timer around 30 minutes prior to the spawn, so all you need to do is to head over there and have fun. One issue that PC players should be mindful of is how your graphics cards run in the open beta, because in the previous weekend a number of reports came in about 3080 Ti's and even above that having problems running horribly or even dying when playing the Diablo 4 closed beta. So one of the solutions proposed here is to limit your frame rates within Nvidia's control panel, and to do so you need to open that by right clicking on the desktop, scrolling down to manage 3D settings, changing max frame rates to on, and then choosing a max frame rate to your monitor's refresh rate. And once it's done, you can hit apply and then restart your PC so that all these changes are being made. But I can also confirm that this happened to me, though only once during the beta weekend when my 3090 had a huge spike and almost went into overdrive. It didn't cause any breaking issues, but I'm glad it did not, so these changes might be something to help you out in the meantime. Moving on though, we've talked about queue times being addressed, and it looks like there's a bunch of additional fixes being made here too, including to the queue times not being displayed despite the players still being in a queue, as well as other improvements to queue times in general. And speaking of them, for me, turning off crossplay helped a ton with server stability on the PC, so if all things fail, especially on day one, give these a go and see how it pans out. Additionally, in Her Wake quest, sometimes getting stuck was also addressed in this update, and they fixed the issue where players were unable to select the high texture settings with just 16 gigs of RAM. Another one was for the UI incorrectly showing completed challenges as not started, and finally, a number of crash-related problems will also be addressed in this new patch. That being said, get ready for the two new classes, including the Necromancer and the Druid, and for all the newcomers, do not be afraid to change your skills if your current ones don't click with you. That's the purpose of this beta, to test things out, so whenever you think your build sucks or something, just try out something different and see some of the other skills, how they function. Each class has different playstyles to choose from between melee and range, huge crits or damage over time, minions or buffs, and so on. Plus, once you get tons of yellow drops, around 15 to level 20, you can sell them and have enough money to respec anytime. Also, the devs gave a bit more insight into these two new classes, the Druid and the Necromancer, and it seems that the Necro might turn out to be a fan favorite. So Rod Ferguson, general manager for Diablo 4, who is a self-proclaimed Necro main according to this PC Games interview, has this to say about the class. The coolest thing is the control of the Necromancer. The customization that the Necro has centers around the Book of the Dead, and so you get to configure your army the way you want. You can take all the customization around that your army will look like, and you can actually sacrifice them to make you stronger. I really love that flexibility, he says. It's my favorite class. And yes, it's true, if you like playing as a minion master, there are 3 types of minions that a Necromancer can have, thanks to its unique class mechanic of the Book of the Dead, all fitting of course different roles and having different upgrades as well. But these can also be sacrificed to give you stronger buffs if you want to go in solo as a Blood or a Bone Necromancer, which is why I said there are so many ways to play just any single class. The druid, on the other hand, deals with all things living and breathing. Unfortunately, we won't get to see their homeland called Skosglen, which is not going to be available in this beta according to Joe Shelley, games director for Diablo 4. But in the full game, he explains druids can indeed travel to this place, and there's even spirit animals they can commune with that reward them for bringing these tokens back as favors. They offer customization in the form of different buffs that the druids can get if they choose to be aligned with one of these 4 different spirit animals. Furthermore, when talking about shapeshifting, one of the class's unique mechanics, it's been redesigned in Diablo 4 to feel a lot less cumbersome. You've likely seen some of the footage with the druids, so instead of having to transform into a werewolf or a bear form to use certain attacks, instead every skill you use transforms you into that form automatically as you do it. For example, a swipe that is a bear attack and a bite that is a wolf attack will smoothly transition between the 2 forms when using them. And then there's also the itemization that allows to further customize things, like for example being a bear most of the time, except for maybe when in towns or on horseback, he further explains. Which actually sounds really awesome. I would definitely like to be bear or a wolf most of the time as a druid player. And druid offers some great build diversity too, not just melee damage as we've talked about with these forms, but also access to nature, earth, and storm spells. You can cast these from afar if you want to, or imbue your weapons with storm power to take an entire group of enemies real fast. But let me know down below which of these classes you're planning to play with in the open beta. I know that some of the early access players are definitely going with either Necro or the Druid, but I'm curious some of the newcomers what you're going with. Now, in not so great news, Blizzard has also addressed the couch co-op situation, which is actually fully available and working on the consoles, but well, not so much on the PC version, neither in the demo nor will it in the full release, with the game's manager citing technical limitations as a reason. So according to this interview, trying to do shared screen co-op on the PC is much more challenging when it comes to account management and how you play together. Consoles are preset for that in terms of the ways you can associate the accounts to it, whereas trying to get to Battle.net accounts signed into the same PC at the same time is a technology problem. Furthermore, it seems Blizzard considers it a low priority too to do this when the majority of couch co-op isn't going to happen sitting at a desk but in front of a 65-inch TV in their opinion. Now, I don't really agree with the statement given the fact that PC screens have gotten bigger and bigger over the past decade, and even more so how quickly it is to just connect your PC with a simple HDMI cable to any TV these days anyway. Plus, I'm sure if someone really wanted it, they could solve this platform limitation problem too by having 2 instances of Battle.net accounts running at the same time on the same PC. There are even apps out there and games that have allowed this for decades, and Windows even supports that function natively as long as the app can do it. Of course, the question always boils down to if it makes financial sense for the company, but as a player you don't really buy a product, nor does it reflect your satisfaction how a feature lines up the company's pockets or not, because that's not why you buy the game in the first place. You buy it to have fun, and going the extra mile almost guarantees positive feedback, at least that's my opinion, but it looks like Blizzard isn't planning to do anything with couch co-op on the PC, at least not on launch day. Be that as it may, heading into the beta, Blizzard have also issued a few warnings to players just like in the previous weekend. As this is still a beta, keep things in mind that it's not all going to work properly and performance optimization is still an ongoing progress. So you might still encounter some performance issues here and there, especially on older hardware across different platforms. Also, in-game voice chat may not function correctly for all players, though personally I always turn this off anyway. Furthermore, despite best efforts to eliminate all queues due to the sheer number of new players, they might still implement one maybe on Friday, since that's going to be the busiest, with the weekend and other days basically being a lot more free if the past weekend is anything to take from. And this is pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.